I'm Davy. I'm awesome. And welcome to Davy's Awesome Movies, where I review the styles of movies I love, the alternative, B-rated, cult-style flicks. So as we know, I love those movies that are just so bad that they're good. And here's another movie made by the king of the so bad they're good movies. This one was made in 1955, and it was of course written, directed, and produced by Ed Wood, and co-written by Alex Gordon, and co-produced by Donald McCoy and Samuel Z. Arkoff, made by Rolling M Productions, and distributed by Banner Pictures. Ladies and gentlemen, Bride of the Monster. The movie opens with a couple of hunters caught in a storm.
Hey, we can make it over to the old Willow's place. Are you out of your mind?
Of course he's out of his mind. He's in an Ed Wood movie. But when they get to the old Willow's place,
You can't stay.
they meet Dr. Eric Vornoff, played by the legendary Bela Lugosi. And he's not one for house guests.
You're not welcome in my house. Go away now.
Maybe you should take the subtle hint and leave. They finally leave when they meet Lobo, played by Tor Johnson, assuming that he must be the monster that they've heard legends about. But spoilers, he's not. Because we then see the real monster. A big giant rubber squid. That Dr. Vornoff keeps as a pet, I guess. There are conflicting stories about that rubber squid. The legend is that Ed Wood snuck into a movie studio and stole the big rubber squid, but forgot to take the motor. Which is why the actors in this, whenever they were being attacked by that giant squid, had to move their tentacles around by themselves. But some others that were close to Ed Wood say that's not true, he just rented the giant squid. But not the motor. Then Dr. Vornoff goes to check on his other pet. His stock footage! Because as we know, Ed Wood was a fan of using stock footage. A little too much of a fan.
Dude, shut up!
Hey, it's true, he relied way too much on stock footage. I mean, seriously, what kind of artist has to exploit his stock footage to that degree?
I got nothing.
Hey, you keep quiet before I release the bees!
Not the bees! Ah!
That's what I thought. Yes, I think we've learned something here.
They're not just cookies.
Okay, that didn't even make any sense. Okay, that's enough. Let's get back to the review. Oh. Yes! Yes! Stock footage is awesome. Oh no, one of the hunters has fell into the lake. Now he's gonna get attacked by the stock footage. And I'm guessing this is how tentacles became a fetish. Lobo comes along and grabs the other hunter. He's not saving the day, he's taking him to Dr. Vornoff's lab.
Let me loose. Do you hear me?
Lobo hears him, but he's mute. Dr. Vornoff is working on a way to use nuclear energy to turn men into superhuman giants. And that's what he's gonna do to this man.
Or, like all the others, dead.
So which is it gonna be? He's dead. So it didn't work this time. I'm guessing it only worked with Lobo. But hey, he's gonna keep trying, which is the message here, kids. Don't give up on your dreams. Then we go to the police station,
Take him downstairs and book him. All right, let's go.
where we see Officer Kelton, played by Paul Marco. This was the first of the Kelton trilogy. The next was Plan 9 from Outer Space, followed by Night of the Ghouls. Then we see the male lead, Lieutenant Dick Craig, played by Tom McCoy, meeting with his Captain Robbins about the crazy stuff that's been going on at the swamp.
12 disappearances around this place and nothing to go on.
Hey, if anybody had anything to go on, this would not be an Ed Wood movie. Then the female lead comes in,
Captain Robbins, will you tell this Junior G-man to let me go?
Janet Lawton, played by Loretta King. She's a reporter.
I don't put much stock in the future success of our married life if already you're holding out secrets on me.
She's also Lieutenant Craig's fiancée. Janet is trying to get information about the monster at the swamp, which of course the police are saying is not a real thing. But Janet is convinced that it is.
No human did this.
Right, that's what convinces you, is ripped clothing. Because, humans or other types of animals can't rip clothing. Only monsters can do that. Janet says she's going to Lake Marsh by herself.
Over my dead body.
That could be arranged.
Ha! Not even married yet, and she's already threatening your life. You're gonna be fine. Janet goes to look up some old receipts and find out who owns the old Willow's place.
You've got the whole town in a panic.
While there, she bumps into Margie, played by Dolores Fuller, Edward's girlfriend at the time, and the female lead of 2 of his projects, Glenn or Glenda, as well as Jailbait. She was supposed to play Janet Lawton, but hey, honey, at least you got a cameo.
I know what you said, but I didn't hear you.
I get it.
The disdain between Dolores Fuller and Loretta King doesn't come across in their performance at all. Then we go to the police talking to a Professor Strowski, played by George Becquar, who worked one day on set, got all his scenes done, and then because he felt he was shorted on pay, made a complaint to the Screen Actors Guild, which halted production on this for a couple of days as they investigated. Edward was forced to pay him more money, so to come up with it, he had to sell another share that he had in this movie to get the money to pay Becquar. Because of this, some of the people who were close to Edward said that to the day he died, he hated George Becquar with a passion. So why is Professor Strowski there?
Prehistoric monsters.
To investigate the monster. I mean, hey, he investigated the Loch Ness monster, even though there was never any evidence of Nessie.
There's no denying we need help of some sort.
For many reasons, I won't deny that. They set a time to meet up in the morning to go investigate Lake Marsh. After the professor leaves, Lieutenant Craig says he's going to go meet up with Janet, but Captain Robbins informs him that she called the office and canceled their plans for that night.
If she's gone to Lake Marsh alone, I'll take her across my knee.
My wife would love that. Janet did in fact go to Lake Marsh, and on the way there, got a flat tire that caused her to spin out of control. But then she meets Lobo. You know, if all you can do in a situation like that is scream and faint, you kind of deserve to die. When she wakes up, she's in Dr. Vornoff's lab.
How did I get here?
That's not important for the moment.
It's a little important.
Sleep.
Is he a doctor or a Haitian voodoo master? In the morning, Professor Strowski didn't show up at the police station, so Lieutenant Craig and his partner Martin went on without him, because they figured he must have just gone by himself.
Where else could he go?
I don't know, to go make a good movie? Of course, Lieutenant Craig is very concerned when he finds Janet's car, so they split up to go find her. Janet awakens, and of course, she's frightened by Lobo, so Dr. Vornoff tells him to leave, but Lobo is too enamored with Janet.
I said get out!
I wonder if that's going to come back to haunt you later. Janet and Dr. Vornoff, they talk for a little bit, and then he does the little hypnotizing sleep thing on her again. So now that that filler is out of the way, Professor Strowski comes up to the house and lets himself in, and he goes around the house snooping around. That is, until Dr. Vornoff appears.
It has been a very long time.
Vornoff.
They know each other. Dr. Strowski wasn't there for the monster, he was there for Dr. Vornoff. So why did you bother going to the police station? Professor Strowski tells Dr. Vornoff that he was sent by their government to bring Dr. Vornoff home.
So my dear country now believes in my work.
Dr. Vornoff goes into how he was considered a madman in his home country, which is why they banished him, forcing him to leave behind his wife and son.
Because I suggested to use the atom elements for producing super beings.
Now he's gonna create Captain America! Oh no, wait, no, that's not him. Vornoff's bad. But Professor Strowski tells him that the government that they're from, which they never say which government or country it is, but I think we can assume they're talking about either Nazi Germany or Russia, is now convinced that Dr. Vornoff can create superhumans, which would help them take over the world. So they sent Dr. Strowski to bring Dr. Vornoff home.
I have no home.
If I could play this entire scene for you, I would. It's really good.
That I will show the world that I can be its master.
Because in this scene, he definitely showed the world what a great actor he was. After Dr. Vornoff makes it clear that he is not going home, but rather he's going to make this army of superhumans for himself to take over the world, Professor Strowski tells him that he was sent to take him home, and that's what he's going to do under any means necessary.
Bring him along, Lobo.
Suddenly, Lobo takes Professor Strowski to the giant squid, which means that now Professor Strowski has to move the tentacles for the squid. While looking for Janet, Lieutenant Craig and Martin find Professor Strowski's car. So Lieutenant Craig decides he's going to go check out the old Willow's place, and Martin is going to go check out the lake. While going to the old Willow's place, Lieutenant Craig shoots at some random stock footage of an alligator. I mean, seriously, come on, man. I understand using stock footage, but only if it actually suits a purpose to the movie or video.
Fruitcake. I love fruitcake. Num 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 num.
I'm also a hypocrite. Now Dr. Vornoff is going to test his experiment on Janet. But first he put her in a wedding dress. Why? Lieutenant Craig arrives and looks around, and he finds Dr. Vornoff's headshots! So that's his dastardly plan this whole time. Dr. Vornoff is going to create a race of superhumans, take over the world, and force us all to watch Ed Wood movies! Dr. Vornoff in his lab is telling Janet he's going to make her a woman of super strength.
The pride of the atom.
Oh, that explains why he's putting her in a wedding dress. You know what? No, it doesn't. It's still stupid. Finally, Lieutenant Craig comes in.
Who are you?
For one thing, the police.
And for another thing, damn it, Janet, I love you. But Craig didn't know about Lobo, who was right behind him. So Janet is not in fact saved. At least not until Lobo decides that because he's so enamored with her, this was all due to her Angora hat. I'm not kidding. Lobo decides to put Vornoff on the table and strap him in. He's gonna do Dr. Vornoff's own experiment on Dr. Vornoff! Lieutenant Craig is freed and tries to stop Lobo, but he can't. Then again, even if Lobo wasn't supposedly some superhuman, he was played by the legendary Swedish wrestler Tor Johnson, so I don't think Craig would have stood a chance either way. So now Lobo starts up the machine. Even though he was supposed to be some mindless monster, suddenly he knows how to work complex machinery. But Lobo doesn't realize what he's just created. A stunt double! With platform shoes! The horror! Monster Vornoff takes Janet and leaves. And just in time too, because as the police show up and are chasing him and Janet, that's some strong lightning. Their guns are having no effect on Monster Vornoff. So Craig just rolls with it. Now Bella's stunt double is on the giant squid, moving its tentacles for it. And if that's not bad enough, somehow a blast of lightning makes the squid explode. An explosion of that magnitude, with all of you that close, would have killed all of you.
He tampered in God's domain.
Yeah, okay. So there you have it. That's Bride of the Monster. This movie is awful, but it's good awful. It's very fun to watch. It had a $70,000 budget, which meant that this was the highest budgeted movie that Ed Wood ever had, and it was actually the only movie he ever made that gained somewhat of a profit. However, to get funding to get this movie made, Ed Wood accidentally oversold his shares. Meaning by the time this movie was made, he had no shares left. So even though this was the only movie he ever made to make a profit, he personally made nothing off of it. Oh, the sweet irony. The original title of this movie was supposed to be Bride of the Atom, which they had dialogue in there to kind of make us go, he said it, but last minute, Ed Wood decided it would probably be catchier to call it Bride of the Monster. I don't know how I feel about that, which one's catchier, but either way, the good title wasn't going to make it a good movie. Heck, even the performance by legendary actor Bela Lugosi wasn't enough to make this a good movie. His performance in this was great. He was the only really good actor in this movie, but that just goes to show you, one good actor isn't going to make a good movie. The ending also really didn't make sense, but that was thanks to producer Donald McCoy. Donald McCoy owned a meatpacking plant and agreed to help finance the film. Out of the $70,000 budget, he gave $50,000 to this film under two conditions. The first condition was that his son Tony McCoy had to be in the lead role. His son was an aspiring actor. He did a couple of things before this movie, did a few things after this, but never really took off. The other condition was he wanted a giant nuclear explosion at the end of the movie because Donald McCoy himself was not a fan of nuclear weapons and was trying to throw in a message out there of nuclear weapons are bad. However, it really didn't make sense. The only way that Ed Wood could figure out how to do this was have lightning strike that squid and create a big atomic blast. But again, made no sense because lightning hitting a squid is not going to make it explode. It's just going to electrocute it. And then again, an explosion like that, the stock footage shows, that would not have only killed everybody around there, that would have killed everybody in the town, maybe even the neighboring town. It was a big explosion. But hey, it made Donald McCoy happy, so movie got finished. It is a little sad that this was sort of the last movie that Bela Lugosi ever made. It was his last speaking role, and then after this, he and Ed Wood started working on another project, The Vampire's Tomb, but then Bela Lugosi passed away, and then since now they couldn't finish The Vampire's Tomb, Ed Wood took footage from that film and put it in Plan 9 from Outer Space, which is technically Bela Lugosi's last movie. But this is the last movie he was actually in. And even though he and Ed Wood were friends and everything, it is a little sad that the legendary career of Bela Lugosi, the first man to ever portray Dracula on screen, had to come down this way. Being in a few Ed Wood movies, which were famously bad, but even the projects he worked on outside of what he was doing with Ed Wood weren't exactly like 5-star movies. The other thing was the strain that this put on his relationship with Dolores Fuller. She was originally supposed to be Janet Lawton in this movie, and according to Dolores Fuller, which they later put this story in the Ed Wood biopic, according to Dolores Fuller, Loretta King knowingly bribed her way in by saying she had connections to get him the financing that he would need to finish the movie, and then of course couldn't actually make it happen. Loretta King vehemently denies this, saying that she never promised to get any funding for the movie, did not pay her way in, he just liked her better. They're both dead now, so we'll never know what really happened. However, due to the small success of this movie, because like I said, it did turn somewhat of a profit, this was one of the things that enabled Ed Wood to be able to make Plan 9 from Outer Space, which would be the movie that he'd become known for. So ultimately, as far as this movie goes, the way I would recommend it is take it for what it is. It's a bad movie, but it's fun to watch. It's fun to sit there and make fun of. It makes you laugh at how goofy it is. It's just a passion project of a guy who just really wasn't that good at making movies, but that didn't stop him. So on that note, if you are somebody who likes movies that are just so bad that they're good, then definitely check out Bride of the Monster. So there you have it. That's my movie review this week. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, make sure to hit like, hit subscribe, hit that little bell so you get notifications for when I post new videos, and leave a comment. If you've seen Bride of the Monster, tell me what you thought of Bride of the Monster. Tell me which one of the Ed Wood movies was your favorite. Love you guys.